In the meantime, later on this afternoon, the family of Devin Willock is going to hold a press conference to discuss legal actions following the fatal crash over the weekend. It's something we kind of knew was going to happen, and unfortunately we got to talk about it because it's in the news. Jarrod Oxendine, one of our legal experts, owner, CEO, managing partner of Oxendine Law, oxlawfirm.com is where you can find him as well, joining us now to talk about that and more. Like we said, Jarrod, it's a story that I know we all do not really feel comfortable talking about, but the family is calling the press conference and they made the announcement, so inevitably you got to believe things like this are going to happen, right?
Hey, guys, go Dogs. And, yes, such a sad story. The family has a great claim here. It's just a matter of, what deep pockets they can find. I mean, Wilcock was a great player. He played in every game, I think, for Georgia. I mean, he had a bright future ahead of him. So the value of his life is potentially worth millions. So the value of his claim would be worth millions. He certainly has a claim against Chandler herself because she was the driver of the car, and you assume she was negligent because she ran off the road. But his limit on what he can recover from her is going to be based on what her car insurance policy is worth and what her personal assets are. Assuming that's not enough money to pay his claims, the next thing his attorneys are going to look at is whether or not they can access the pockets of the University of Georgia. And that's going to come down to whether or not Chandler was acting in her official capacity when she was driving him. If she was, now he can kind of pierce the veil, so to speak, and pursue his claims against Georgia as well. So a lot more to be told about this story.
So I'll ask you as an attorney, and I asked an attorney friend this morning about this as well. I feel really uncomfortable on a lot of levels about this, whether it's going to be the courthouse steps and whether that's a little bit showy, more showy than I think it needs to be. I know what the attorney's job is. I know the family is grieving. They have the right to do this. Believe me, I get all of those things, and I sort of extrapolated what you said about where you could go in the lawsuits itself. As an attorney, do you understand my misgiving of, and I think Nick is looking at me the same way, of having to talk about things like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally disagree with the way the attorneys and the family are going out about it right now. There's a much better approach, and I did personal injury back in the day. I don't really do it anymore. I send referrals out. But you can sometimes work everything out behind the scenes without ever having to file a case. In other words, Wilcox's family and their attorneys could reach out to the insurance carrier of Chandler and see what the coverage is, and then also reach out to the attorneys representing the University of Georgia, and just based on the high-profile nature of this situation and how unfortunate it is, they very well could reach terms of a settlement agreement without all the pomp and circumstance, and I frankly think that's the way this matter should be handled. It's certainly the most respectful way to handle the case, and there's nothing wrong with handling it that way. It frankly might even result in a better outcome.
Yeah, I'm not judging why or how and when.
Everybody has the right to grieve in their own way.
Yes. My only thing is just speaking about it, really, I'm very uncomfortable. And that's why you hire attorneys, by the way, is in large part because they handle a lot of the uncomfortable, do they not?
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's hard when you're going through something yourself because you're looking at things from an emotional standpoint. You hire an attorney not only because they know the law, but because they can take the emotions out of it and just make decisions based on what's best for you, and they're not clouded in that judgment. So always best to have an attorney when you got some high stakes at play.
Jarrod Oxendine with us, owner, CEO, managing partner of Oxendine Law, oxlawfirm.com if you want to check him out and if you feel like you need his services. This story with Michigan's co-offensive coordinator Matt Weiss on paid leave amid this police investigation, computer crimes. I mean, this one seems to be very, very vague at this point, does it not?
Yeah, they haven't given out a lot of information. You would assume he's doing something inappropriate on the computer, and you would assume that if he was accessing, stuff that's unique to the University of Michigan, that he would have the authority to get on the computer and access that. So you're thinking this is criminal in nature. He is accessing information that potentially is illegal, and a lot more to be told about this story. Unfortunately, this one may lead to some criminal prosecution.
Listen, other than not doing illegal stuff with your computer, how often are people getting away with when they come to look for something? Because I don't even know how it works. Are there things you can't eliminate, like even if you throw your computer into the Chattahoochee?
Right. Well, I mean, if you throw your computer in the Chattahoochee and they can never recover the hard drive, you're probably good to go. But, with so much technology out there these days, I mean, the police can track you through your phone, for example, and they're going to show up before you have the chance to throw your computer or your phone in the Chattahoochee, and they're going to confiscate the computer, confiscate your phone, and they're going to access all of your search history, any images you've downloaded. So you really have to be careful. Don't think that just because you're not actually meeting up with somebody that you're in the clear. The police could be on the other end of the computer or the phone and very much be tracking you at the same time.
So as long as you have your phone or your laptop, there's really no such thing as delete. You can delete your search history, but there's a way to find it all.
Still there. Now, it's not forever. Some stuff, once you delete it, only lasts for a certain period of time. But depending on your device and what apps or medium you're using to access this information, it could forever be on your hard drive, and you can erase that, and it can be recovered using the right type of professional and expert. So got to be super careful.
Jarrod Oxendine with us, owner, CEO, managing partner of Oxendine Law, oxlawfirm.com. You can check him out. What would it be like? Do you ever imagine representing a guy like Antonio Brown? It's always something, isn't it?
It is, and I've represented Antonio Browns. Of course, they have different names, but they just can't help themselves. You know, it's like they feed off the drama and the trouble. And so here you got Antonio Brown, once again, you know, posting lewd and sexually explicit material to the Internet. I think this was of his ex. And that's illegal. I mean, without somebody's consent, you cannot post nude pictures and sexually explicit information to the Internet. That's actually illegal to do that. Let's put it in the context of like a family law setting. Let's say he's got kids with his ex-wife, and they're involved in some type of custody dispute. Well, the judge is probably not choosing Antonio Brown because the judge is going to say, look, this guy has awful character. If he's making poor decisions such as posting this type of information and material on the Internet, I'm not giving him custody. What about the kids' friends and parents that are seeing all this information? So the guy just doesn't think. God bless his heart. He's a lawyer's dream, though. I mean, he always needs representation, right?
Yeah. Listen, retainer. I smell a retainer with a guy like that. I'm just going to have you on speed. Hey, last one. So, of course, he claimed he was hacked. How quickly can you prove hacked or not hacked?
Or disprove, yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, you got to prove your claims, right? And so it's hard to prove that you were hacked. I think it's going to be much easier to prove that he actually put the information out there. I mean, who's hacking that stuff and putting it out there? How did they get access to it, right? So how did they even know he had the information to hack into him, right? So it's just not that believable and credible, but obviously the burden would be on him to prove that he was hacked, and there may be evidence to suggest otherwise. Certainly, his past history and course of dealings don't help him.
All right, Ox, great stuff. As always, Jarrod Oxendine with us, the owner, CEO, managing partner at Oxendine Law. You need him, oxlawfirm.com is the place to go. Ox, we'll talk down the road.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. Jarrod Oxendine with us here on the Fan, 680 and 93.